Hi friends, it's Gwen. Today I'm going to talk to you about the December pick for the Novel Bunch, the Goodreads group that I told you about last month, and I will once again link the group in the description box, so make sure to check it out. So we did have to change what we were reading for this month because of book availability, and instead of reading My True Love Gave to Me as a read-along group, we picked up Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. If you do not know, which you should, because this book has been out since October of 2008, it's 3 holiday romance stories intertwined with each other, and they're super cute and fun for the holiday season. So the first story was written by Maureen Johnson, and it was called The Jubilee Express, and it was by far my favorite story of the 3. I've never read anything by her before, but I'm going to be checking out her other works because I really enjoyed the first story. The second story was written by John Green, and that story was A Cheertastic Christmas, and that was also very cute. And the third story was written by Lauren Miracle. It is called The Patron Saint of Pigs, and the only author that I've ever read anything by of the 3 is John Green, and Lauren Miracle's story was just not my cup of tea. It was nice. It was spiritual. But it was way predictable for me. This is young adult fiction, so a lot of people tend to think that young adult fiction is very predictable. And the first 2 stories were very cute and fun, and the last one was really predictable. Of course, it was the third book of the 3, and since they're all intertwined, maybe, of course, that had something to do with it. But it was still a cute story, and it was a good way to finish off the book. So the first story, written by Maureen Johnson, The Jubilee Express. The story is about a girl named Jubilee who is a normal, teenager, but her parents are a little obsessed with the Floby Santa Village pieces, and I guess they come out with one new piece every year, and they go off and go to wherever they sell these pieces, and they stand in line for days, and it kind of reminded me of Black Friday, but they stand in line for days to get the new piece, and they decided to go after the one piece, but I guess it got crazy and chaotic, and it turned into a riot, and they were thrown in jail. So Jubilee is sent to spend the holiday season with her grandparents who live in Florida. Now, of course, this story takes place in Gracetown, so she's on this train ride to Florida, and of course, there's a huge blizzard going on. I mean, why else would the story even be called Let It Snow? But there's this huge blizzard going on, and the train gets stuck, and she's just really, and she's so kind of annoyed. She meets this guy named Jeb on the train, and they talk for a while, and she shares some of her food with them. Then all these cheerleaders get on the train, and she's like, oh my goodness, have to get away from these people. So when the train finally ends up breaking down and they can't go any further, and they're like, look, there's nothing we can do, we're radioing in for help, she decides, I'm out of here. So she gets off the train and trudges her way across the interstate or whatever to a Waffle House. And at the Waffle House, she is again trying to get in touch with people, but the cell phone service is terrible because it's a blizzard and it seems like she's in the middle of nowhere. But I think it's mainly the blizzard. And she bumps into this guy named Stuart. And Stuart is this Target employee who is a local, and he invites Jubilee back to his house to spend the holidays with him and his family. At first, Jubilee's not so sure, but of course she's a little intrigued. She thinks he's a little handsome. And she ends up going home with Stuart because he proves to her that he's not crazy or anything like that. So she gets to his house, and of course she's totally welcomed by Stuart's mom, and he has a little sister, and it just seems really a movie, you know, like those Christmas movies that you see, because it's like so perfect, it's decorated, she's not upset, she's totally excited that Jubilee's there. And their relationship moves forward in a very typical YA fashion, but it's super cute for the holidays, and it was definitely my favorite book. Written by John Green, follows a boy named Tobin, his friends, the Duke, and JP, who are watching movies at Toby's house, and Tobin's house, and they get a call from one of their friends that works at the Waffle House, where everybody kind of from the train gravitated towards. So, of course, all of the cheerleaders there, and he's calling up, hey, man, you got to get down here. There's a whole bunch of cheerleaders, and it's awesome. And they're like, what, cheerleaders? Oh, my gosh. So they basically, like, stop their movie marathon, and they grab Twister, and they go out, but there's this huge blizzard, and I don't even know why they even thought it would be okay. So they get in Tobin's mom's car, well, like SUV, and they're driving, and they're trying to drive, and they're trying, and so they're trying to get to the Waffle House, and of course he tells them, look, we're running out of food, there's only so many people out in here, we've called several other people, and whoever gets there first, that's who gets in, the rest of them are stuck. So they're kind of on a race against the clock to be the first ones there so they can get inside. And it's just all these crazy mishaps along the way. Of course, there's these huge snow drifts, and he's trying to like barrel through them with his mom's SUV, and it is just hilarious. And along the way, the Duke, Angie, she's like, what's the thing about cheerleaders? Like, why is everybody so fascinated with cheerleaders? And they're trying to explain to her, but I don't think any woman understands the fascination with cheerleaders. I guess for the sake of the young adult fiction story and young boys everywhere. It's a back and forth cat and mouse game. Are they going to make it in time? Are they not going to make it in time? Is someone else going to make it there in time? Because they keep bumping into the other people that are supposed to be going to the Waffle House as well. And it's just a super cute story. So the last story of the bunch, The Patron Saint of Pigs, written by Lauren Miracle, I've never read anything by her before, follows the story of a girl named Addie who has recently been broken up with her boyfriend Jeb. So Addie is trying to change Jeb to be more like romantic and more, I don't know, more involved, not so blasé about the relationship. And in the process, they go to this party, and Addie gets drunk, and she kisses this other guy, and then she tells Jeb about it, and then they break up, and yeah. So she's really kind of depressed and sad and all about, you know, Addie. And she calls her friends on Christmas Day, and they come over, and they tell her, they're like, look, Addie, it's always about you. It's always about you. That's why no one can stand being around you half the time, because it's always about Addie. What's wrong with Addie? How can we help Addie? And they're like, you've never done anything for anybody in your whole life. Like, it's time. So Addie agrees to help her friend by picking up this baby piglet from the store. She works at Starbucks, and I guess near Starbucks there's the pet store where she's supposed to pick up the pig, and she's like, I've got it. Look, you guys can't go out in this crazy blizzard, but I've got to go to work anyway. I will get the pig for you. And of course, her friend is super excited, but the other friend is like, there's no way. She's going to forget. There's no way. So Addie writes a little sticky note and puts it on her uniform for the next day, and is like, look, I got you. I'm going to do this. She ends up going to Starbucks, and, you know, people are rolling in, the usual customers and all of that, and then she's trying to get her break. She's like, look, I gotta go on my break, I got something I gotta do, and they're like, look, we're slammed right now, you can't go. So like, okay, fine. So she's working, and then she's like, look, I have to go, I have something to do. So her boss lets her go. So she goes to the pet store, she's like, oh my goodness, so excited. And the pig's not there. And she's like, what the heck? So in a roundabout way, she finds the address of the person that bought the pig. And she goes to the door in a roundabout way. And is the pig there? I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for you. But At the end, she kind of does come out of her little bit of a grumpiness and kind of does learn not to be so self-centered. Even though I think at the back of her mind, I think she feels that she's done a few good deeds for other people, so she's not really self-centered anymore, when really she possibly could be, but hopefully not, because things changed for her at the end, and I think it's a really cute story. This was the most predictable story. Like, you could tell exactly what was happening and what would happen and why it happened. Of course, it was the last book. It was the last story within the book, so that had a lot to do with it as well. But this is a super cute book. I plan to probably read this again each holiday season because it really did get me in the holiday spirit, and they're really short. I like the idea of having a compilation of short stories, and this was a perfect holiday read for me during finals and the craziness of the end of a semester. So if you haven't read this already, I highly recommend you pick it up. It was a fun read along, and I would look forward to your opinions about the book. And don't forget that I have linked the Goodreads group in the description bar, so check that out. We read different books every month. Some months we may or may not pick a book to read. I know we're hoping to read Cress sometime in the new year, but what have you been reading this holiday season that is exciting and that you would recommend for me? I hope everybody's having a great holiday season. I'll see you next time. Bye!